Hey guys, what's going on? It's Lefty from 643 Productions back again with another video commentary. It's been a while since I've done one of these. Man, I'm breaking out like a son of a bitch. You know, it's my work. When I work out, I like to get like really drenched in sweat. I feel like I've actually accomplished something, done, you know, converted a lot of energy, exerted a lot of energy in the form of joules and all that stuff, and thus burning calories. And I get really sweaty, and I wash my face a lot. I don't know. Maybe I'm just not doing it right, not using the right stuff, or maybe I'm just genetically predisposed to look like a pimply-faced biatch. But anyway, just been doing some other stuff. It's been a while for this. I've been doing some other stuff with my channel, which again is you know, my channel. Some people seem to forget that sometimes. But you know, I saw this on Kotaku today, an article on Kotaku. It'll be linked in the description, having to do with female cosplayers. And for those of you that don't know, cosplayers are the people at like trade shows, and I don't know where else they show up. Are there cosplay competitions? I don't know, maybe. But they show up to trade shows. That's how I know them. Maybe there's other places they go. But they show up dressed as their favorite video game or movie or comic book or magna, whatever character. And the goal is to try to look at, I believe, as realistic to the character as possible. And this is for men and women alike. I saw at PAX East there was a very convincing Booker DeWitt, as well as many other video game characters and comic book characters. And this story on Kotaku has to do with a movement attempting to be started at 16bitseries.com entitled "Cosplay Does Not Equal Consent," or it's the =/ or is it backslash? I don't know. One of the slashes, =, consent. Cosplay does not equal consent. Just because I'm cosplaying does not mean you have consent to do this or that. And the story, the movement, is fronted by some really awful, hair-raising stories about female cosplayers being physically and sexually assaulted at trade shows. I believe at trade shows, at other places, wherever they go dressed up as their video game characters, sometimes provocatively, they are assaulted physically by, I believe, males. I don't know, maybe some females. But that's the whole basis of the movement, is that just because I am dressed this way does not mean you have consent to start coming up and grabbing at my butt or my boobs or whatever. And that is totally reasonable, because it's assault, and it's not okay that this is happening. It's just not okay. Okay, I want to drive that home. It is not okay to physically or sexually assault these women. And I just also want to get this out of the way. I know there's going to be some ultra-liberal guys that try to pretend that this isn't a gender issue, that this isn't a subtle shot at misogyny, either in just the general society in general or in the video game world. No, it's about women. Don't try to be like, I dress in spandex and I don't want to be touched either. Dude, nobody's freaking touching you. Stop it. It's about the women. Let's stop bullshitting and pettifogging where we can. And while I fully admit, and while I completely support the eradication of physical and sexual assault of cosplayers simply because of the way they look, I also want people to let's be honest here, because everybody that reads this article, the author of the article, the people that are behind this movement, everybody kind of knows it, I'm sure, but nobody really wants to talk about it. It's that this isn't just about physical assault. It's not. I know personal incredulity is a very poor, or is a generally poor way to form an argument, but I find it pretty hard to believe that every provocatively dressed female cosplayer has been physically or sexually assaulted. And I find it equally hard to believe that every female cosplayer that's a part of this movement has been physically or sexually assaulted. What I think a significant portion of this movement has to do with is females not wanting to be objectified for the way that they dress at these trade shows, not wanting to be ogled by men and groups of men, or boys, teenage boys, what have you. They don't want to be objectified. They don't want to have their bodies, their cleavage, their butts. They don't want to have those things stared at. And I think that is a subtle underpinning of this entire movement. Yes, the physical and sexual assault is not okay, but it's not happening to everybody in this group. And everybody would be better off if we could just admit that it's not just about the physical or sexual assault. There's also, my guess is, and I'd be willing to bet dollars to donuts on this, that a lot of these women just don't like feeling ogled. They don't like the feeling they get when they feel eyes on them when they are wearing some of these very revealing outfits. And I think that's disingenuous. And I think it's I don't think it's okay to use the very real stated purpose of this movement, which again is stated against physical and sexual assault. I think it's disingenuous, and I think it's intellectually dishonest for these other people, mainly women. A lot of them are women, and a lot of them are ultra liberal, trying to say, I should not feel objectified. I should not feel ogled when I wear some of these costumes that we see cosplayers wear. I mean, I'm looking through this Kotaku article, I've seen 3 women wearing corsets that plainly show off their cleavage. There's another girl dressed as Chun-Li, where you can see at the hem of her dress, you can see her underwear, and I think it's wrong to try to say, well, I shouldn't feel like people are ogling me when it's a choice to wear those things. Because, again, let's be honest here. There's women in this movement, there's female cosplayers in this movement that feel as though they shouldn't be sneered at, snickered at, looked at, objectified via eyes of men because of the way they dress. When in reality, they are the ones that choose to dress provocatively as they do. How is it that we have come to a point in our society where there are people, probably more than a few, who believe that it is wrong for people to believe or react to someone as provocative and promiscuous when they dress provocatively and when they dress in a promiscuous manner? When you do that, it's a safe assumption that some people are going to be like, she's probably promiscuous because she's wearing a promiscuous outfit. Dave Chappelle did a great bit about this in one of his comedy specials, and it holds true, especially in this argument that, yes, you should not be physically or sexually assaulted, and that's not okay. But you also don't have a reasonable expectation of not being ogled by men. When you choose to walk around in public showing off your cleavage, wearing tight spandex across your butt or showing off your underwear, there are going to be people that look at it, and that's not their fault. And you shouldn't feel as though you have a right to not feel uncomfortable with all those eyes on you. And the general point, or the larger point, problem I have with this is this crazy ultra-liberal notion that everybody has a right to not be offended by something all the time. And I think this is just this is an extension of that idea. This is a manifestation of that idea. Yes, the stated objective is that physical and sexual assault isn't okay, and it's not. It's not okay to physically or sexually assault women, scantily dressed or not. Not okay. But I think you're also bullshitting yourself if you don't believe that a lot of these women just don't like being looked at sexually by men when they are the ones that choose to dress sexually. So if you know one of these people that is trying to use this movement as a way to say, well, I shouldn't be looked at the way that people look at me when I come out dressed with my underwear hanging out, well, maybe you shouldn't put your underwear hanging out there. Again, all of this comes up to a point. This whole, well, you should be responsible, you are somewhat responsible for the way people perceive you based on the way you dress, that all stops. It stops at the point where women start when you cross in that threshold of starting to assault physically and sexually women, which is not okay. This is not there comes to a point where people start saying, well, you're okay with rape. No, I'm not, because once you start assaulting and sexually assaulting these people, it's not okay, no matter how they are dressed. But I think there's some people here that are trying to try a little skullduggery, and I think it's intellectually dishonest, and I think they should be shamed for trying to pull this off. But anyway, guys, that's my time. I got to get out of here. Thank you for joining. I hope you enjoyed. Sure to drop a like on this video if you did enjoy. I am out.